Now, the news. Sig Sauer recently put the internet on notice with a press release called The Truth about the Sig P320. The first paragraph really tells you what they're upset about. It says, the P320 cannot, in all caps, under any circumstances, discharge without a trigger pull. That is a fact. The allegations against the P320 are nothing more than individuals seeking to profit or avoid personal responsibility. They go on to say that this is a push being fostered by anti-gunners, mainstream media, and agenda-driven parties, claiming that the 320 has undergone the most rigorous testing of any firearm. And the last part really pushes hard. Industry, take notice. What's happening today with Sig Sauer, with the anti-gun mob and their lawfare tactics, will happen tomorrow at another firearms manufacturer and then another. Today, for Sig Sauer, it ends. Those are some strong words for sure. I would certainly say that we have seen more stories about negligent or accidental discharges with a 320 than any other gun in recent memory. However, part of me wonders if it's sort of becoming a circular thing and it's just maybe over-reported or shown to us more than ever before. I also have a healthy skepticism towards any gun company that is potentially hiding behind the responsibility by claiming it's all anti-gunners. I own one P320 and it has been excellent. But this is something that has definitely crept into my mind and made me wonder if my gun might have issues. I'm also aware of a long video done by a YouTuber named Protraband that claims to expose the lies and that the 320 is, in fact, defective to its core. I'll link to that below so you guys can watch it. I haven't actually watched it because it would be the equivalent of asking a liberal white woman to stop protesting on behalf of others. It's just not going to happen. I don't have that kind of attention span. I've been torn on this whole thing for a long time. I want to trust that the gun isn't a problem. They've sold millions of these things. They really have. And most of these cases, at least where I've seen video, are from holster or carry method related things, which points to the trigger getting pulled by something. I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comments. Good, bad, indifferent, drop it down there. Sig will maybe read it. I don't know. Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective News. I'm John Patton, and I've got some good news to share with you guys about GunCon. We've had a ton of sponsors jumping on board for this year so that you guys can come see them. They want to see you. We've got HK, Gideon Optics, DNT Optics, Night Vision, Align Tactical, Rost Martin, XS Sights, Ranger Point Precision, Rifle Speed, KDG, Radian, Century, Canic, Recover Tactical, and Mepro Light. They're all signed up with tons more on the way. The public portion of GunCon will take place on June 28th at the Twist Drill building in Cleveland. That means it's driving distance from the East Coast. Yeah. That's awesome. Tickets will go on sale at the end of March. You do need a ticket to get in. I'm super excited to bring it a bit closer to the East Coast because that's where I'm from. Stay tuned. You will not want to miss this one. Before we get into some more new guns, I have to apologize. I done f***ed up. I know it's a rare thing, but I was flat out wrong last week. I was talking about the BMP-23 and how Hydra Weaponry was kind of getting away with copying someone else's homework. I also crapped on them for the $23.50 price for that gun, and I still think it's overpriced, but I was wrong about them copying the homework. A bunch of you guys actually informed me that Hydra is sort of a derivative company after one called MGI, or Mac Gwynn Industries, and as it turns out, Mac Gwynn Jr. started a company called Gwynn Firearms, which later became Bushmaster, who made the arm pistol that I was talking about. So basically, Hydra was copying their own homework. I just flat out did not know that backstory, and I wanted to come out and apologize to Hydra for that. Sorry, guys. Whoops. You should definitely modernize and make the BMP-23 not look like it was made in a shed, but it is definitely yours to make if you want. That price is still stupid, by the way. Moving on. How's about some new stuff? We have 0 new guns this week because the gun industry thinks in 2025 it's smart to release all the new stuff in 1 week in January. Really dumb. So instead, let's talk about an optic from Primary Arms that's pretty cool. It's called the HTX-1. This is an enclosed style optic, but with a different approach, I guess. Normally these would mount to the gun with the acro footprint. I'm not a huge fan of that style of attaching an optic, so seeing this plate system, as they call it, is interesting to me. They call it the MCS, or modular chassis system. So you have a tiny little chassis plate thing that mounts to the gun. It's sort of represents the cut on the gun, then sinks up into the optic itself. I'm told that it will mount to most pistol footprints out there with the plates that you get with it. I'll make sure, if you're watching on Rumble, I'll make sure there's a link to this somewhere in the description. The other basics are that it uses a 4 MOA dot reticle, or my personal favorite pistol reticle of all of them, the ACSS Vulcan. I think that's the fastest reticle out there. The other thing that's interesting is that this is one of the first products that Primary Arms is making here in the US. Now, it's not the cheapest out there in the market, but having something that mounts to just about any of my pistols is very appealing. I regularly complain about the lack of a mounting standard for pistol optics, and this is trying to fill that gap. Anything that moves in that direction, I'm behind. MSRP is $650 for the 4 MOA dot and $700 for the Vulcan reticle. That's not cheap, but if it's legit, it could be maybe worth the price tag. For reference, the Steiner MPS has an MSRP of $633, and the Acro from Aimpoint is $600 MSRP. I would love to hear what you guys are comfortable paying for a pistol optic that has potential to last a long time down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Mec-Gar announced recently that they are making Glock mags for the first time ever. The reason that this is a big deal is that they're all metal, unlike factory Glock mags that are plastic and metal, like a metal sleeve, plastic sleeve, whatever. These are more like the mags for just about everything else out there, because Mec-Gar makes magazines for a huge portion of the pistols that are on the market right now. A lot, like a ton of them. There are two flavors, the G17 sized 18 rounder and a G19 sized 18 rounder that has like a gap filler on the bottom that'll sort of stick out. MSRP is $29 on that. Actually handled these in person and they seem nice. At this point, I think Glock mags are pretty hard to screw up, but having a more, I don't know, premium, long-lasting option is not a bad thing, especially for all the PCC and Gucci guns and higher-end stuff that have been coming out in that pattern. Let's take a breather and get a word from this week's sponsor, Vertex. I've been rocking the Urban Ghost backpack for a little bit now, and every time I use it, I like it more. It's got these stretchy pockets on the sides that'll fit all the white monster you could want. Then there's a bunch of Velcro mounting inside for accessories that go bang. And in the back side, you actually have a soft armor panel, because why not? And if you use the code TGC over on their website, it'll save you a little bit of cash, and it lets them know that you support these videos, and I would thank you for doing such things. Big thanks to Vertex for supporting TGC. Let's keep it rolling with this week's friendly fire question. If you want to ask me a question, put it down in the comments and use the words friendly fire so I can actually find it. That is appreciated. I'm going to rapid fire a few quick ones this week. Draconis says, what's missing in the revolver market? Capacity and innovation. Revolvers don't hold enough ammo and haven't changed much in recent years. Minimal changes. ATIX, MTB, mountain bike, whatever, says, would you consider a PSA dagger suitable for carry? Absolutely. I love that gun. I think it will continue to make every other gun out there look overpriced for a long time. David Coulter says, what's your take on the new small frame 327 revolvers? Would you carry it over a 38? Well, I'm not going to pick a revolver over all the other stuff I have at my disposal pretty much ever. I'm just not going to pick that. So no, I wouldn't carry it. And I think 327 is a solution looking for a problem. My buddy Chris Gillespie, who, by the way, makes some really nice beard balm that I have on right now, says, what is the bare minimum amount of ammo people should have on hand for each caliber of firearm that they own? The simple answer is 10,000 rounds. Stack it deep. It sucks to hear that, but that's what I think. The world keeps getting weirder every day. Stack it deep. And if any of you guys happen to want a special sort of John Patton blend of a beard balm or something like that, sound off in the comments. Chris and I have talked about it a couple times, and I'm curious if you guys would actually want that. I would do a small run, maybe. Okay, moving on to some industry news. Let's start with the background check numbers for February 2025. Last month, we did 2.3 million background checks, which is down about 80,000 from the number in January, and it seems to be right around the new average that we've been seeing for a little bit now, like sort of 2 to 2.5 mil, somewhere in there. I'm very curious to see if we start to see a real dip, like a Trump slump again, like we did the last time the orange guy was in office. Time will tell on that for sure. Moving on from there, the man behind a company called Shot Stop Ballistics has been charged with three counts of smuggling foreign-made body armor into the U.S. and selling it to law enforcement agencies as legitimate domestically made and NIJ certified products. This allegedly went on from 2017 to 2023, and the long and short of it is that he could be in, I don't know, I guess a boatload of trouble if he's proven guilty. Although they did find thousands of Chinese-made body armor panels in warehouses that he owned that had no way to produce said panels, and a laser printer that was used to print fake certification labels. Doesn't look great for him, but if it's all true and he is guilty, then I guess it sucks to suck.